There's a deep satisfaction in giving. Whether it's offering your time, support, or love, it can make you feel connected and valued. But what happens when the scale tips too far? When you find yourself giving endlessly without anything coming back to you, it can leave you feeling empty, exhausted, and even resentful. Overgiving often starts with good intentions, but without balance, it becomes draining. Imagine a cup that's being poured out constantly yet never refilled. At some point, there's nothing left. That's what happens when you give too much without receiving enough in return. You give so much of yourself to your relationships, your work, your community, that there's nothing left for you. It may start with small things, like always being the friend who listens, who shows up, who does the extra work. But over time, the small things add up, and before you know it, you're emotionally, mentally, and even physically depleted. The challenge is, many of us confuse giving with self-worth. We believe that the more we give, the more valuable we are, the more we are needed, but your value isn't defined by how much you give to others. If you're constantly giving at the expense of your own well-being, you're only doing half of what kindness and generosity are about. True generosity also includes giving yourself time, space, and the right to say no. I think of the relationships in your life. Are they balanced? Do you feel like the people you pour into also pour back into you? If not, it's time to take a step back and reassess. It doesn't mean cutting people off or stopping the kindness, but it does mean learning to set boundaries. It's not selfish to protect your energy. In fact, it's necessary. You can't be the best version of yourself for others if you're running on empty. You deserve to receive as much as you give. When you start to value yourself and your own needs, you'll notice that the people in your life who truly care will respect those boundaries. And for those who don't, it might be a sign that their place in your life needs to be reevaluated. The key to giving is balance. Give, but don't give yourself away. Give, but make sure your cup is being refilled, because you are just as deserving of care, love, and support as those you give it to. Kindness is a beautiful trait, but unfortunately, it can sometimes make you a magnet for toxic people. Those who take advantage of others often seek out the kind-hearted because they see their generosity as a resource to exploit. They recognize that your inclination to help, support, and forgive can be manipulated for their benefit. At first, you may not even realize it's happening. You're just being yourself, giving your time, energy, and care to someone who seems to need it. But as time goes on, you might notice a pattern. The person constantly takes from you, whether it's your emotional support, your physical presence, or your resources, but gives little to nothing in return. They might even make you feel guilty for setting boundaries or saying no. These individuals have a way of subtly or sometimes blatantly demanding more than what's healthy. It's easy to fall into the trap because toxic people can be incredibly charming when they need something. They might shower you with compliments, tell you how much they need you or how no one else understands them like you do. And because you have a kind heart, you keep giving. But in reality, this dynamic is one-sided. You end up emotionally drained, and often your own needs and well-being are sidelined. Toxic people thrive on kindness that has no boundaries. They exploit the fact that you're willing to go the extra mile for them, often without considering the toll it takes on you. Over time, this can wear you down emotionally, leaving you feeling used, unappreciated, and stuck in a cycle where you give and they take. Recognizing when someone is using your kindness is crucial for protecting your energy and emotional well-being. Pay attention to the balance in your relationships. If you notice that someone constantly takes but rarely gives back, or if they dismiss your needs while demanding that you meet theirs, it's a red flag. It's okay to be kind, but it's also okay to be kind to yourself. Protect your energy by setting clear boundaries, and don't be afraid to distance yourself from those who continuously drain you. True kindness isn't about allowing yourself to be used. It's about giving from a place of strength, not depletion. Relying too heavily on the approval of others can lead to a cycle of emotional dependency that stifles your personal growth and self-worth. When your self-esteem is intricately tied to what others think of you, you might find yourself constantly seeking validation through their opinions, praise, and acceptance. This can manifest in various ways, whether it's in your personal relationships, at work, or even in social settings. In the quest for approval, you may find yourself compromising your values or changing your behavior just to fit in or to be liked. You might dress a certain way, laugh at jokes you don't find funny, or even shy away from expressing your true thoughts and feelings, all in hopes of gaining that coveted nod of approval. While it's natural to want to be liked and accepted, allowing this desire to dictate your actions can leave you feeling lost and inauthentic. The irony is that the more you seek validation from others, the more elusive it becomes. You may receive praise and compliments, but they often feel hollow. It's like a drug that temporarily lifts you up, but ultimately leaves you craving more. Each time someone doesn't respond as you'd hoped, you can feel a wave of anxiety and self-doubt wash over you. You might think, what did I do wrong? Or why don't they like me? This constant worrying erodes your confidence and happiness. Moreover, emotionally depending on others' approval can strain relationships. When you rely heavily on someone else for validation, you might unintentionally place a burden on them, expecting them to always reassure you. This can create an imbalance where you become overly needy, causing frustration or resentment on both sides. Over time, this dynamic can lead to a breakdown in trust and communication, pushing people away rather than drawing them closer. The key to breaking this cycle is to cultivate a strong sense of self-worth that isn't reliant on external validation. It begins with understanding that your value doesn't come from others' opinions, but from within you. Acknowledge your strengths, celebrate your achievements, and be kind to yourself. Start small by making decisions that align with your true self rather than what you think others expect from you. Gradually, you'll build a solid foundation of self-esteem that remains intact, regardless of outside opinions. Learn to embrace your uniqueness and accept that not everyone will approve of your choices. This realization can be liberating. When you release the need for constant validation, you'll find a newfound freedom to live authentically. Your happiness won't be contingent on others' approval, but rooted in your own self-acceptance. As you strengthen your sense of self, you'll attract healthier relationships based on mutual respect and understanding rather than dependency. Ultimately, your journey towards self-acceptance will empower you to be the best version of yourself, unhindered by the need for validation from others. When you prioritize the needs and expectations of others above your own, it's easy to lose sight of who you truly are. This phenomenon often occurs gradually. You may begin by making small compromises, such as altering your opinions to fit in or adjusting your lifestyle to accommodate someone else's preferences. Initially, these changes may feel harmless, even generous. However, over time, they can lead to a profound disconnection from your authentic self. As you become more entrenched in meeting the demands of those around you, your passions and interests can fade into the background. The hobbies you once cherished, the goals you aspired to, and the dreams you held dear might start to feel irrelevant or selfish. You may find yourself saying yes to things that don't resonate with you or agreeing to plans that you have no interest in, simply to maintain harmony or gain approval. In doing so, you risk losing the essence of who you are and what brings you joy. This loss of self often breeds feelings of resentment and frustration. You might feel trapped in a cycle of pleasing others while neglecting your own needs. The irony is that the more you give of yourself, the less fulfilled you may become. You could find yourself feeling emotionally drained, questioning your worth, and wondering why you feel so disconnected from your own life. This disconnection can lead to a lack of motivation, diminished self-esteem, and even anxiety or depression. Moreover, losing yourself in the process can strain relationships. When you are no longer true to yourself, it becomes difficult for others to connect with you on a genuine level. Friends and loved ones may sense that something is off, and this can create distance rather than intimacy. They may miss the vibrant, authentic version of you that once shone brightly. The deeper you go into this cycle, the more you risk alienating those you care about, ultimately leaving you feeling isolated and misunderstood. To reclaim your identity, it's essential to consciously reconnect with yourself. Start by taking time for introspection. Reflect on your values, passions, and the activities that bring you joy. Make a list of what truly matters to you and prioritize those things in your life. This may require setting boundaries with those who expect you to always be available or to conform to their needs. It's okay to say no. In fact, saying no can be an empowering way to protect your time and energy. Another effective strategy is to engage in activities that nourish your soul. Revisit hobbies that you once loved or try new things that excite you. Spend time alone in nature, journaling, or engaging in creative pursuits that allow you to express yourself freely. These activities can help rekindle your sense of identity and purpose. Lastly, surround yourself with people who appreciate and encourage your authentic self. Seek relationships that uplift and inspire you rather than those that drain your energy. Authentic connections will remind you of who you are and support you in your journey towards self-discovery. Remember, your worth is not defined by how much you give to others, but by the love and respect you hold for yourself. By taking the time to rediscover who you are, you'll not only enhance your own life, but also enrich the lives of those around you. Embrace the journey of self-discovery and reclaim the joy of being unapologetically you. The ability to say no is a crucial component of self-respect and personal boundaries. When you lose the power to assert this simple yet profound word, you open the door to a myriad of challenges that can compromise your well-being. The journey begins subtly. You may feel a sense of obligation to accommodate the requests of others, believing that saying yes will make you more likable or appreciated. However, over time, this tendency can snowball into a pattern of chronic compliance that leaves you feeling drained and resentful. The struggle to say no often stems from a fear of disappointing others or a desire to avoid conflict. You might find yourself agreeing to commitments that don't align with your interests simply to maintain peace or gain approval. Each time you acquiesce, a little piece of your authenticity fades away. You might promise to attend social events you dread, volunteer for projects that stretch you too thin, or take on responsibilities that belong to someone else. Each yes compounds the feeling of being overwhelmed, and the toll it takes on your mental and emotional health can be significant. As you continue to overextend yourself, you might experience signs of burnout, fatigue, and frustration. Your emotional resources become depleted, leaving you with little to give to the friends and people that truly matter. The irony is that by failing to protect your own time and energy, you may end up becoming less effective and less present for others. Your relationships can begin to suffer, as you're no longer the vibrant, engaged person you once were. Instead, you may feel like a shadow of your former self, merely going through the motions. Moreover, the inability to say no can create an unhealthy dynamic in your relationships. People may start to take your compliance for granted, expecting you to always put their needs above your own. This can lead to feelings of resentment and bitterness as you realize that your own desires and priorities are being sidelined. Instead of fostering genuine connections, you may inadvertently create an environment where others feel entitled to your time and energy, further eroding your sense of agency and self-worth. The power to say no is not just about denying others, it is an essential act of self-care and self-advocacy. By learning to assert your boundaries, you can reclaim your time, prioritize your needs, and cultivate a sense of empowerment. Start by recognizing that your worth is not contingent on your ability to please everyone around you. A simple no can be a powerful statement of self-respect, demonstrating that you value your time and well-being. To regain this power, practice saying no in low-stakes situations. This might mean declining an invitation to an event you're not interested in, or refusing an extra task at work that would overload your schedule. With each experience, you'll build your confidence and realize that saying no does not equate to being unkind or selfish. Rather, it reflects a healthy recognition of your limits. Additionally, remember that it's okay to provide a rationale for your decision, but you are not obligated to justify your choices extensively. Sometimes a simple "I can't commit to that right now" is more than enough. The more you practice this, the easier it will become to stand firm in your boundaries, creating space for the things that genuinely matter to you. Ultimately, reclaiming the power to say no can lead to a richer, more fulfilling life. By prioritizing your own needs, you cultivate a sense of agency and self-love that empowers you to engage more authentically in your relationships and pursuits. Embrace the strength that comes from honoring your boundaries, and watch as your world transforms into one that truly reflects your values and aspirations.